stories of triumph.
I can do things I haven't been able to do for 10 years.
And stories of hope.
At one point they flipped the switch.
From people battling Parkinson's disease.
I have too much still on my bucket list.
To those working hard to find a cure.
If things go well, I can be as bold as to say maybe within 5 years or so.
Tonight, the breakthroughs in treatment today and in the future for those living with Parkinson's. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ted Scouten. I'm one of up to 80,000 Floridians living with Parkinson's disease. Today we're here at Baptist Hospital in Kendall, home to the Miami Neuroscience Institute. Doctors and researchers are focused not only on patient care, but on cutting-edge technology and studies to advance what's being done right now. Florida has the highest percentage of people in the entire country experiencing Parkinson's. Here in South Florida, the research race is on. At FIU, cutting-edge technology is getting closer to a new therapy to modify the disease, and it centers on your nose. Imagine this: a simple nasal spray could slow the progression of Parkinson's disease.
The way that we package this medication, it can get in quite quickly and far enough to the deep brain region that's affected in Parkinson's disease.
Dr. Kim Tu from Florida International University, along with a team of scientists, are working on a drug compound called CTS-2444-32. Not a very catchy name, but the possibilities are astounding.
To move away from, as I mentioned before, dopamine replacement therapy to now disease-modifying therapy, it's a game changer. And we can do that now because we understand biology of Parkinson's much better.
A treatment that doesn't just mask symptoms, but could actually slow the disease itself.
That is an unprecedented image that we have never seen before.
Even more promising, researchers are building on drugs already approved by the FDA, potentially cutting years off development.
If things go well, I can be as bold as to say maybe within 5 years or so.
For people like Jane Reiner, time matters. Diagnosed 4 years ago with Parkinson's disease, she's already part of another clinical trial hoping to slow what doctors still can't stop. She's encouraged by the research for new treatments. That's why she's part of a new drug study.
It doesn't cure Parkinson's. It just slows the progression down, supposedly.
Reiner feels the need to help others by taking part in research that could really make a difference.
I would like very much to think that I helped develop something that help the next guy or the next generation.
She doesn't know when a standout drug or therapy will come along, but she's hopeful.
I still don't know what the future holds. I know what it could hold, and I also know what it may not hold. But I do know that I have too much still on my bucket list.
Over at the University of Miami, they're part of a stem cell study that's looking very promising. It implants cells right where they are needed, getting past your brain security system, known as the blood-brain barrier.
People with Parkinson's should feel more excited than they ever have before.
The excitement builds as scientists find new ways to fight Parkinson's. One of the most promising is using stem cells to create neurons that produce dopamine. That would be a game changer.
There's a potential here that we are changing the trajectory of the disease, that we're giving people back something that they've lost, we're giving them back their dopaminergic neurons.
With those neurons ready to get to work, the question is, how do you get them where they need to go?
The problem is the brain doesn't like stuff to just float into it. We've got a very elaborate defense system to prevent bacteria, foreign cells, cancers, things like that from getting to the brain.
This therapy calls for bypassing that security system in your brain and injecting these neurons right where they belong.
This is where the cells actually get injected, into this part of the brain called the striatum, and it's just a matter of getting the needle there and slowly injecting the cells and withdrawing. That's the entirety of the procedure.
I'm 37 years old and I have Parkinson's.
For Alejandro Cáceres, the possibility of a treatment like this one day could be life-changing. The husband, father, and stepfather first noticed symptoms when he was just 29.
My issue is my left part of my body. I can't write with this hand. Now I have my pill on, but if I don't have it, I can't do this movement. I can't do it. It's hard for me to walk.
Parkinson's is already changing the way he lives and the way he connects with his young daughter, but this cutting-edge research gives him hope.
As a young guy, I feel excited. I want things to happen quick so I can try the new method that they have right now. And I wish I could try it as soon as possible.
In Japan, they already have preliminary approval for implanting stem cells into the brain. But here's the catch. It's only available to Japanese citizens, but other researchers will benefit just by looking at the clinical results. Now, fueling this explosion of innovation in part is AI. Research that used to take years can now be done in just hours in some cases. AI is able to sift through mounds of data and potentially notice patterns and information that a human could miss. One hope is that AI assistance will help doctors diagnose problems earlier.
Once the individual is diagnosed by a physician because they have loss of memory, whatever, it's too late. So you need to make that diagnosis 10, 15 years prior to the clinical expression of the disease, so you can start therapy a lot earlier and then has the potential to help, slow down the progression.
AI is also giving researchers more in-depth views and analysis of their material. FIU's Dean of Public Health says it's an exciting time for science. He believes that with all this technology, breakthroughs are going to happen more quickly. One breakthrough already impacting lives is being used in a new way to stop a host of Parkinson's symptoms. MRI-guided focused ultrasound uses heat to stop tremors. We were there when Jan Homestead went in for his procedure.
Hold both arms up for me, my friend.
For the first time in 3 years, Jan Homestead is tremor-free.
Almost like there's a switch that turned it on.
That switch, an MRI-guided focused ultrasound at Delray Medical Center. What sets this apart from other procedures, there is no incision and you go home the same day.
So not only does it help tremor, but it helps motor fluctuations, dyskinesias, and other motor symptoms of Parkinson's.
And that's the part that's new.
That is correct.
Homestead couldn't wait to get relief.
So like it basically feels like I've had 50 cups of espresso and my whole body feels jittery. And like my arm doesn't stop shaking, 14, 16 hours a day, all my waking moments, and it's kind of exhausting.
Homestead is retired from Delray Beach Fire Rescue. 3 years ago, he learned he had Parkinson's.
This is my Parkinson's medication, carbidopa, levodopa, and I take 7.5 pills a day.
When he heard about the MRI-guided ultrasound, he was all in, even though in Florida, his specific procedure is not covered by insurance. Some others are.
For me, it's kind of like a no-brainer, no pun intended, but it's for me, it's worth it if it gives me any relief at all.
How you feeling?
Jittery. Been off meds for the first time in years, so been off meds for 36 hours.
Procedure day. Severe tremors on full display with his neurologist, Dr. Arif Dalvi, and neurosurgeon, Dr. Lloyd Zucker, at the controls. He's ready for the 3-hour procedure.
That looks like it, right?
That is it.
Yeah.
This MRI-focused ultrasound uses sound waves guided by MRI to treat deep in the brain with no incision. That targeted sound energy generates heat that causes a small ablation.
It's disrupting what have become hyperactive circuits within the brain.
Drs. Dalvi and Zucker use painstaking precision to make sure they target just the exact spot. Using temporary sonication at first, they check multiple times with Homestead to make sure before they do a permanent ablation. Then, the final sonication. When doctors went in to check on Homestead, they found no tremors, no rigidity.
Basically, he says his inside feels calm. We walked in, he said, somebody just flipped a switch. Gotta love this stuff.
Yeah, at one point they flipped the switch and it was literally like it turned off I felt the calmness that I haven't felt in years.
After a hug for his neurosurgeon, Homestead is ready to go home.
Hi.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Tremor free. Oh, good.
Well, grab the water with the left.
Yeah, there
Yes,
you go.
look at that. Look at that. Wow.
I might even give you a knife tonight.
And he just might be ready to hold it. I spoke to Jan recently. He said his tremors are all but gone. He's very happy with the results. Similar MRI-guided ultrasound procedures are done at facilities across South Florida, including right here at Baptist Hospital. It's the brain surgery promising big improvements for Parkinson's patients.
This will give us the opportunity
to have a much better quality of life.
Deep brain stimulation. See the change from the operating room to home life months later. Plus, the connection between Parkinson's, food, and stress. The everyday changes that could make all the difference.
Living with Parkinson's on CBS News Miami is sponsored by Baptist Health. Welcome to Breakthrough Brain and Spine Care.
Welcome back. Deep brain stimulation is considered the gold standard in lessening Parkinson's symptoms. Think of it kind of as a pacemaker for the brain. But it's daunting. In most cases, the patient is awake during brain surgery. I first introduced you to Deborah Flynn back in December on CBS News Miami. I checked in with her recently for an update to the surgery that she says changed her life.
What do you think?
The tremors stopped.
The tremors stopped, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still feel woozy?
Mm-mm. No, I don't feel woozy.
It's the moment Deborah Flynn's tremors stopped on cue.
There we go.
When doctors energized the electrodes implanted into her brain in mid-November. This was 3 weeks after deep brain stimulation surgery. It's a life-changing moment.
It's like, oh my God, my hand's not shaking. That just feels great. It really does.
Flynn's meds weren't as effective after living with Parkinson's for the last 10 years.
Towards the end of the day, it gets to the point where I can't use a keyboard. Like it'll just slap like that. My hand has has a mind of its own.
She took control, opting for a daunting operation where she would be conscious during brain surgery.
You'll be awake and you'll be recalling and telling us a lot of information.
And not uncomfortable.
All right.
It was an emotional road to get here.
You're going to feel a lot of vibration.
For the next 3 hours, she talked with the team as doctors implanted the electrodes.
I don't like that at all.
She actually had her eyes go over to the side also.
Flynn helped guide surgeons to find just the right spot.
All right, let's go up to 2.5. Yeah. All right, now you're going to wait on that because, there we go.
Her tremor stopped. Success.
I feel really good and very excited about the opportunities that will be available to me with this.
The surgery is not a cure, but it helps control symptoms that can take over a patient's life.
It allows them to decrease medication with at least 50%. And it's not just that the motor symptoms are getting better, tremors, stiffness, and rigidity, but also symptoms like sleep.
For Flynn and her husband Jim, this will give them freedom from her strict medication schedule that dictates what they can do and when they can do it.
I spent the first probably 5 years with this disease. Feeling guilty. You know, like, he didn't sign up for this. This will give us the opportunity to have a much better quality of life.
And by mid-February, it had.
Nice and easy. My hands don't shake anymore. I don't worry about cutting my fingers off.
3 months after brain surgery, Flynn again trusts her own hands.
I can do things I haven't been able to do for 10 years like this, or snap my fingers. I haven't been able to snap my fingers with my right hand since, 2015 is as far back as I can remember.
Her tremors are gone, so is the dyskinesia, the violent involuntary movements caused by medication. The rigidity, it's somewhat controlled, but watch what happens when she turns the stimulation off.
If I turn it off, it's off now. But within seconds, maybe a couple minutes, the tremors will start again. Look what's happening.
You don't miss that, do you?
No, I don't miss that.
She's still battling insomnia, and her Parkinson's hasn't disappeared.
My little purple pill. It's time to take it.
And that's the only pill you take.
That's it.
Down from 7 pills a day to 1, thankful for life now, but well aware of what could still be to come.
The disease is going to continue to progress, but if I can get 4, 5, 6 years out of it like this, boy, it's worth every minute I spent having it done.
Deborah Flynn and her husband Jim are out exploring the world on a long trip. She tells me she feels comfortable leaving, knowing that if there's a problem with her device, her team can access it remotely anywhere in the world. And new research out within the last year is giving food for thought when it comes to the idea of trying to prevent Parkinson's disease. Research by the American Academy of Neurology showed eating ultra-processed foods like breakfast cereal, packaged sweets, and sweetened beverages could potentially influence the development of Parkinson's disease. The study found eating about a dozen servings of ultra-processed food each day could more than double your risk of developing the disease. That makes eating whole foods important for everyone.
In recent studies, we have seen that the consumption of ultra-processed foods increase the risk of developing Parkinson's disease or developing the early signs of Parkinson's disease, and also eating diets that are filled with fruits and vegetables and fresh foods and fresh meats and fish decrease the risk of developing Parkinson's disease for everybody.
The study done at King's College did not find a direct increase in the risk of the disease itself. It's still unknown if ultra-processed foods can cause Parkinson's. The American Parkinson's Disease Foundation says a whole food, plant-forward eating plan like the Mediterranean diet can help manage symptoms and slow progression for patients. And it's not just food. Stress can worsen every major Parkinson's symptom. The Parkinson's Foundation says that includes sleep problems, depression, involuntary movements, and many others, including the symptom most people associate with the disease, tremors.
Stress has been associated with an increased risk of chronic inflammation in the body, and it also has been associated with an increase in oxidative stress in the body. Those two things have been linked with Parkinson's disease and many other neurodegenerative diseases.
Experts say one of the best weapons is exercise, like walking, cycling, swimming, sports, yoga, Pilates, and Tai Chi. And there's another powerful tool, mindfulness. Practices like meditation and focused breathing can help calm the brain and improve both movement and mood. When we come back, I'll update you on my Parkinson's journey and how I'm doing 2.5 years after diagnosis. Plus, louder, stronger, and bigger.
I need to go do this. I want to live that part of life that I have been fortunate enough to have.
Inside the Class, changing how Parkinson's patients live, next.
Living with Parkinson's on CBS News Miami is sponsored by Baptist Health. Welcome to Breakthrough Brain and Spine Care.
When people think of Parkinson's disease, they think of the way it impacts movement, but many patients have a hard time realizing their voice volume and quality are declining as well. But there's a way to battle that. All it takes is a bit of work.
Let's do a couple more. Big step and big. Big open hands.
At Memorial West, people living with Parkinson's are learning to go big and go loud.
Ready? Reach big. There you go, that just like that.
This is LSVT Big and Loud, a program crafted specifically for people living with Parkinson's. The big part focuses on movement.
It's very intensive, where we work on amplitude movements, high intensity, high repetitions, really the foundation for neuroplasticity.
Big step back like you're bowing.
Allison Vega is a physical therapist. She helps patients recalibrate movements many people take for granted, from walking across a room to using their hands.
Let's say the patient has difficulty with fine motor coordination like buttoning or tying their shoes. We'll teach them they can do hand flicks, big amplitude, really trying, big open hands, and then to just go for that activity with big effort, and then they noticed improvements.
Good morning, my love.
Beautiful.
You look beautiful.
The loud part targets something many people don't associate with Parkinson's, the voice.
The volume kind of comes down and the patient is typically not aware. So it becomes a problem when the family's like, I can't hear you, I can't hear you.
Language pathologist Carmen Ortiz started the program at Memorial 7 years ago. She said when voices fade, connections often fade with them.
These patients, because their voice becomes so soft, little by little they start to not have conversations at dinner. They start to make less phone calls. They start to now want to call their grandchildren and not call family members. Good job! Again! We use a sound level meter to measure decibels, and we take raw data, so we'll see, you came in, you were speaking at 54, 60 decibels, and you're leaving speaking at 80, 85, and you can see a big gain. And big.
For Anthony Lederman, the 4-day-a-week, 1-month program is helping him reclaim parts of his life that Parkinson's tried to shrink.
We have 3 grandchildren, the oldest being 2 now, and that kind of helped change my life and the way my outlook.
And reach big across your body, reach across.
Instead of saying, well, now I'm not going to be able to do this or that, now it's, I need to go do this. I want to live that part of life that I have been fortunate enough to have.
LSVT is available at numerous locations across South Florida. Remember though, you have to commit to 4 days a week for 4 weeks. Well, it's been 2.5 years since my Parkinson's diagnosis, and I wanted to thank each and every one of you who has stopped me to ask how I'm doing. I feel the support, and I'm so grateful for it. I've been living with tremors that over time I've noticed have gotten more intense, especially when I'm stressed or really focused. At last check, all 3 people who were taken to the hospital were suffering from non-life-threatening injuries. Sometimes you can see my arm shaking during live reports, and I found that getting out of the car takes a little longer than it used to. And at the dinner table, when I pick up a fork with my left hand, the movement is slow. Even buttoning my shirt can take time. And when I walk, my left arm doesn't swing. When I see my neurologist, he puts me through a series of movements, the same test every visit, to see how things have changed since the last time.
So compared to this, it is slightly affected.
Okay.
It's not severe by any stretch. You're doing very well.
From the very beginning, my doctor told me I needed to exercise a lot to slow down the progression. So I do. I've lost nearly 50 pounds since my diagnosis. My blood pressure and cholesterol are both down. I have a trainer and I take rock-steady boxing classes. I'm doing my part. This fight is far from over. That's all the time we have for now. We have a special Living with Parkinson's section on our website. Just go to cbsmiami.com and click on the tile at the bottom of your screen. I'm Ted Scouten at Baptist Hospital in Kendall. Thanks so much for watching.
Living with Parkinson's on CBS News Miami is sponsored by Baptist Health. Welcome to Breakthrough Brain and Spine Care.